And it seems like even then, you read other people's stuff. Even Eddie Murphy and John Landis, the director, knew this was a shitty script. But Eddie Murphy goes, yeah, no, but I don't care what the script is. $15 million paycheck. Which Eddie Murphy did not deserve, because Eddie Murphy is half-assed. He's on autopilot in this movie. But he didn't care about the script, he cared about the $15 million paycheck. He said, oh shit, these films I made didn't work. They were flops. $15 million paycheck? Sure, let's do a Beverly Hills Cop 3. And even John Landis is like, it's not a good script, but, he said one of the worst scripts I read was the first Beverly Hills Cop, but Martin Brest and Eddie Murphy really made it work. And John Landis in an interview much, much later said that he would try to get Eddie Murphy to be funny, but Eddie Murphy wanted to play more straight. I guess apparently he was jealous of these guys like Denzel and Wesley Snipes, because he had done, I think he had done Passenger 57 by then. So I think Eddie Murphy wanted to do more straight action movie. And I think Eddie Murphy had told John Landis, like, Axel Foley's an adult now. He's not a wise ass. I'm like, Axel Foley, that's like if John McClane doesn't make jokes anymore. That's like I can appreciate wanting to stretch a character a little bit. Like John Rambo in Rambo 3, he had a little bit of humor to him. But it wasn't like he got in a fucking suit at an amusement park and tried to do the okie dokie. I guess Axel Foley actually does that. You know what it is? The Axel Foley in this movie would fucking make fun of the Axel Foley in this movie. What the fuck you doing in this fucking outfit? Get the fuck out of it. That's what it is. It's just... Okay, I'm going all over the place. Step by step. First off, it starts off with the stupid, goofy... I mean, it's like a straight action picture, but if Eddie Murphy has one-liners, they're not funny, and the attempts at humor is goofy, and it doesn't work. Like, John Landis, I think, was the wrong choice for directing this movie. He's not really a guy who can handle action. I don't think of him as an action guy. Even if you don't have to be an action guy, I don't think he worked well for this movie. And then also the fact that you don't have Ronny Cox, you don't have John Ashton, and you don't have the producers Don Simpson Jerry Bruckheimer. I looked them up, and apparently they were doing some other films. They did, I think they produced The Ref with Dennis Leary. Very funny movie. I like The Ref. Mainly because I thought Dennis Leary, that was probably my favorite Dennis Leary performance. Unfortunately, he hasn't had a lot to shine in the main role. But really, a year later, I mean, they were producing Crimson Tide and Bad Boys. And I think that's the thing, like, you think about this film, and then a year later, Bad Boys come out. This film needed to be like Bad Boys. The humor and the fucking edge, and the film just seems tame and mediocre, like a generic action movie. But I know, I mean, in the beginning I was going to say, it starts out with this stupid thing where Eddie Murphy's undercover with this group of people. Their joke is that, you should call SWAT. We should have called SWAT. Wow, hilarious. Also, you know what's even more hilarious? These fat guys in their car shop, take cars, strip them, put new shit on them. 2 or 3 guys are singing to the Supreme song on the radio, dancing and singing. And other guys are like, dancing to the beat. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then, of course, that's when things go haywire. Inspector Todd gets killed. And remember I said I don't hate this movie? Hate this movie. There's 1 or 2, maybe 3 scenes I thought were decent. One of them is the scene where Eddie Murphy is driving this car from the shop, go after the bad guys. Every time they shoot at Eddie Murphy, a piece of his car flies off. Everybody blows in his face. The bad guy pushes his henchman out. Eddie Murphy accidentally runs him over. He looks back, goes, you know, that was like, okay, that's a good reaction. Like, that's Axel Foley. And shit just keeps flying down, and I thought they did it better here than Robocop 3, which, really enough, I don't think this is as bad as Robocop 3, but it's bad. It's disappointing. It's more, in my opinion, it's more disappointing than bad, if that makes sense. It's more of a letdown. Like, Robocop 3 is plainly fucking horrible. This is bad, but it's just a so disappointing, mediocre bad, you know? And it's not funny at all. Well, that one bit, again, with the car being shot to pieces and him still driving, I chuckled a little bit at that. And then, of course, you see the Fed guy, which you can tell is a bad guy. You have the stupid scene. I agree with that free. It's a stupid scene where he's trying to get in to see Judge Reinhold, and the machine says, for English, press 1. For French, press 2. If you have a problem with homeless people on your lawn, press 7. And I'm like, checking your watch. If you had a watch, okay, can we move on and get to something funny? Judge Reinhold is wasted in this role, like, given nothing to do. It's like, oh shit, we do need a Judge Reinhold. Remember him, folks? He was in 1 and 2. And it just doesn't work. Hector Elizondo is really out of place in this movie. Hector Elizondo was good in films like Leviathan. He worked well in Leviathan. Here, though, first off, is pretty much an attempt to replace John Ashton. Oh, let's get another guy with some facial hair and sort of balding. He just does not work. He does not fit at all. He's out of place. You know, I would say it's mean, but I would say he gives a bad performance. He just does not fit well in this type of role, in this type of trying to be a camaraderie between. It's like there's Judge, there's Axel, and there's new guy, which his comedy and the ways that he just doesn't work. He's too low key and it doesn't work well. And even if Steven needs to sue the right, if you don't do Die Hard in a amusement park, even then it's like you could do a lot more with an amusement park. First off, I thought it was stupid making it more like Disney World with all these characters in suits. Like Eddie Murphy is getting shot at one point. He runs out, into like a door that's hidden behind this fake tree. And he runs out and all these people are dancing. And he's on the run, so Eddie Murphy, he starts dancing to the crowd. And dancing so that he can then he gets off the street. I'm like, dude, why the fuck are you staying around dancing? Just get the fuck out of Dodge. Goofy. And you get stupid cameos from directors like George Lucas, John Singleton, Joe Dante. That's John Landis special. Not in this movie. They were fucking out of place, and it's like, oh, there's George Lucas, okay. Trying to think of anything that was actually funny. It was just sort of lame, stale, and like Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy just played this so laid back. He didn't have his spark, he didn't have his wit, he didn't have anything. It just was. He tried to be like Wesley Snipes in Passenger 57. And you know what, folks? I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of Passenger 57. But I can safely say, that's a better movie than this one. And it shouldn't be. I like Part 2. A lot of people shit on Part 2. There are even people who say that Part 3 is better than Part 2. And that's your opinion, but I don't know what you're smoking. I know that's mean, but I don't mean to be rude about that. I like stupid. Well, I like movies that people think are stupid, but at the same time, I don't understand it. I'll put it that way. But it's just. Some more Elmer drug juice. It sits there, and like you have a scene where Eddie Murphy tries to humiliate the bad guy, and here it just played tame. Like Eddie Murphy, he's in front of these cops, and he doesn't insult the guy. He's like, "Hey, this guy's great, huh? This guy does a good job," and sort of whispers him and flies off the handle a lot, and. Oh, he meets Serge, Bronson Pinchot, which, well, he was alright in the first film, but I didn't love him to death. And Bronson Pinchot, he's alright, but it's like, wow, it's like, oh shit, we don't have a script, let's bring this guy in. And I'm like, you know what, I would rather see John Ashton and Ronny Cox and, than Serge. And the only reason he's there is for a plot device, a plot point, for, oh, he has this big gun, the Annihilator 2000, which is a big thing in Beverly Hills, is a gun, but it also has, it's a ridiculous looking fucking thing. It's got a microwave, it's a fucking big ass gun with a microwave, a radio, I think like a TV, probably scrub your ass cheeks, and in between them, stick a dildo up your ass. I mean, it's a silly looking thing. I'm like, why is this goofy shit in a Beverly Hills Cop movie? Like, why, you keep asking yourself why. Why do you have goofy shit like bad guys in a car chop shop dancing to the Supremes and singing to Supreme songs?